You're listening to Heating Up the UK,
a Miami Heat UK-based podcast, bringing you the best Heat media guests every single week.
Here's your host, Dan Healy.
Brought to you by the Miami Heat UK social media network. Enjoy the show.
Hello and welcome to episode 46 of Heating Up the UK, a Miami Heat UK-based podcast. I am your host, Dan Healy. And before we come to today's episode, I just want to ask you to check out our Vice Fits merch. We are running a competition via our YouTube channel and our Twitter accounts. All you have to do, if you don't know what our Vice Fits merch is, go and check them out at Vice Fits on Twitter. They are a fantastic range of Miami Heat Vice-infused tees and hoodies. We've got a collection of over 20 on there now. And as you know, we have recently started our YouTube channel, Miami Heat UK TV, and we are approaching 200 subscribers, which we're really pleased about. So all you have to do, go onto our YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button, go into my account, find that tweet of me saying about the giveaway. It will be somewhere near the top. I will keep retweeting it. Reply to that tweet that you have subscribed and retweet that tweet, and then you will be in with a chance to win a free Vice Fits tee. And this is worldwide shipping, so this is not a UK competition at all. So that's all you have to do. 3 quick things: subscribe, reply subscribe on the Twitter, and retweet that tweet, and you'll be in with a shout. Good luck, guys. Right, on to today's episode, and I'm delighted to be joined by the host of the In the Lane podcast, Tony Schwartz, also known as Twisted Tapioca. Tony, how are you doing, my friend?
Yo, I'm doing fantastic, bro. I'm so happy to be here. I know before we came on, I was trying to bribe you to get one of those Vice shirts as well. He would not take peanut butter, which is a shame because that's all I had in my cabinet. So
Brilliant. Right. First of all, I need to really thank you, man, because for those that do not know, didn't see my tweet, we recorded one of the best episodes ever. It was so much fun a few days ago. 40 odd minutes long. It was great. And then when I went to say goodbye, I went to tap the end recording and saw it was saying to record. So I've done the whole thing without recording it. I'm looking in my top left-hand corner as we speak, and there's a red flashing light saying recording. So we are good, man. Thank you so much for coming back on and joining me.
The episode was so good. We had to just keep it for ourselves, bro. That's what happened.
It was a great chat. Whatever happened, we had good fun. Tony, you joined at quite a good time, really, because the Heat are rolling at the moment. We're on All-Star break as we speak now. We had just come off of the last game of the first half of the season, which was against the Pelicans. Another nice defensively elite performance, holding the Pels to 93 points in that game. I know they was without Zion, but we was also without Bam. So, 2 stars missing from that game. But the main thing that I took away from not just this game, but the season, the first half of the season in general, was defensively, this team is way better than what I thought this was going to be. I mean, when you look at especially our best defensive players, Avery Bradley has barely featured. Mo Harkless was brought in to do that sort of job. He's not really featured, and where he has, he's not actually been very good. We've had long spates of the season without Jimmy Butler. He's missed a lot of games. So really, we've been doing this with Bam and Iggy, and that's about it. Sonny, how have we been such a great defensive team this year?
Well, defensive rating is the stat that everybody references, and we're 9th right now in league defensive rating. I don't think we've been as great as that shows. I think what we do very well is trap ball handlers off the pick and roll, and I think we protect the rim really well. Those 2 things are weighed pretty heavily in defensive rating. So, this is a cop-out answer. We are a really good defense because we're a really good system defense. We play an aggressive trap scheme, and we play it really fucking well. Yeah. But our pieces are so undersized that I can't sit here, look you in the eye and go, yeah, great defense. Love it. Can't wait for the rest of the season to play out. Because the macro is still we have to play the Nets and the 76ers at some point, ideally in the playoffs if we're going to make a run. And I don't like it. But yes, to your credit, you make a great point. This team has been surprisingly good on defense, and there's Duncan has made very progressive steps in the pick and roll. So is Kelly. Kelly was a pick and roll like attack piece. The other team would see Kelly and then immediately start to run the pick and roll at him. But since we're helping with Jimmy off the corner now in the trap, which is something we did a lot of last year, defense looks a lot better. So we're pretty good. That's how we're doing it. We're doing it by getting back to trap defense and letting Bam kind of play that wild card, block the hell out of your shot from behind kind of thing. And it's been pretty cool.
Yeah, it has. And you're right to bring up people like Duncan and Kendrick Nunn as well, who's improved massively from just an eye test point of view this season. When you look at, we lost Jay Crowder, Derek Jones Jr., who defensively is, that's their strongest points really before anything else. To lose them, as I said, we haven't really seen the two players that were brought in to replace them, unfortunately, due to injuries and form, etc. But so players like Kendrick and Duncan have definitely stepped up, which is great to see. Another player that splits opinion, and I've said many times as well, you either get a very good or a very bad Kelly Olynyk. You don't seem to get anything.
7-foot trash can or Larry
Bird, yeah.
You don't seem to get anything in between, really. It's crazy. And the last time out, his shot suddenly started to drop. I think he was on about a dozen points after 3 or 4 minutes of play against the Pels. So we saw his shooting come back. But what do you make of Kelly? Because he splits the fan base. From my point of view, and I've said it again many times before, I don't like to bag on him because the Heat have got a lot of fours and none of them are particularly good. But Kelly's come in and held that down quite well. What do you make of what Kelly Olynyk brings to this team?
Look, there's so many analytical stats that point to when Kelly's on the floor that we're a better squad offensively and defensively. I think a lot of that is he feels comfortable with himself in his own skin out there in the floor, so he's making decisions quickly. He impacts rebounding somehow. I don't know how, because I've never seen his arms go above his head unless he's shooting the ball. But he impacts rebounding somehow. Maybe it's just size, or maybe he's an elite box out guy. I honestly haven't been watching him too much. I really should be on defensive rebounds. Kelly Olynyk's good for this team, and he's so good for this team that he makes this pretty big decision that we have to make if we ever want to attack the trade market and use a salary filler. Like, what guy are we including in that deal? Is it Kelly Olynyk? Is it Andre Iguodala? Because as of right now, we have 3 top 20 defensive box plus minus guys: Jimmy, Bam, and Iguodala. Iguodala is like legitimately impacting our defense and spurring it forward with steals and then occasional just box plus minus, which is his defensive impact on the guy he's defending. So there's a real question there. It's hard for me to make a direct analysis of Kelly because he's so, like you said, up and down. He's never in the right, consistent mindset shooting the ball. One of my favorite things from the season was Eric Reed reminding us that Kelly was 2 of whatever for the last 6 weeks. He was 2 of 62 or some bullshit before he started having some good games. So I personally hate inconsistency. And so Kelly drives me nuts, but I don't hate the guy. I like him on the team. And if we can keep him in any deals or moves that we do this year, I think that's the best spot.
Yeah, I totally agree, because it's a strange scenario, because he does the analytics tell you that he does help you win. We're better with him on the court. So yeah, I'm hoping that, he's an expiring contract. I'm hoping that we keep him. Whatever happens in trade deadline, he's a useful player. Whatever happens, he's not really a starter. You don't win a championship with Kelly Olynyk as your starting power forward, but he's a useful player. He'll give you some solid minutes. So I hope that Kelly's here for the rest of this season. Another player that has really raised my eyebrows this year is Andre Iguodala. I mean, man, this guy is playing by far his best basketball in a Miami Heat uniform. This is a guy who was a former Finals MVP, and he's on a pretty hefty contract still. And a lot of people were questioning that move with, maybe they were saying, well, you bring him in just to add some experience, that veteran presence and so on. But from a basketball point of view, he's playing. He's still got these ridiculously fast hands. He's chipping in with some points. He's not throwing down some threes are coming down. He's got some bounce in those legs still. We're getting some dunks from 324-year-old Iggy. It's quite incredible. What have you made of Andre's recent form?
He looks healthy. Maybe the Florida sun is loosening up those legs. He looks real springy. He's moving around on defense really well. He's shooting around 40% in his field goal percentage, so he's doing really good in that part. So I think he's rounding into some kind of third act, some kind of athletic prime for his third act going out. And man, I do love watching him play. I'm a defensive guy, and watching him get those post steals is one of my favorite things. And obviously he contributes really hard on defensive box plus minus. I went to go look it up. He's 12th in the league. Or no, I'm sorry. He's 8th in the league in defensive box plus minus.
Wow.
Which I find incredible because Jimmy's 5th and Bam is 12th. So wow. He's a hell of a player, man. I really like that guy.
Yeah, that is incredible. That's an incredible stat. So we approach now. We're at All-Star break. Actually, as we record this now, the All-Star break is about to go ahead. Well, quite incredibly, considering the breaking news just a couple of hours ago that both Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid are not going to be participating. Before we come on to anything else, what do we make of All-Star break? Should this be going ahead? Because for me, it just seems ridiculous. I totally get the fact that All-Stars should be credited as All-Stars, but why are we playing this game?
Oh, yeah, we shouldn't have been playing the game, period. I mean, that's my take on things. And I understand you have to play the game and you can't live in fear, but we didn't have to play it this year. And we didn't have to play it when there's a vaccine rollout that's right on the horizon. So we're putting players in danger here. We're taking the league's most valuable assets, putting them all in one room and having them play against each other. So if you're worried about, long-term money and sponsorships and consistency of a product, I mean, the All-Star game feels like a really stupid idea because you just taking all your best players, putting them in a bag and shaking them up.
Yeah.
This could have been a wake-up call for them, kind of stop the season, stop the events of this All-Star weekend. But they're clearly on the path of doing it and wanting to find some maybe analysis from it, maybe data points, tracking points for them. It might be a good place to see if we can actually have a playoff inside of teams' arenas. So they're bringing the players all to this, one spot without having them live in a bubble for 2 weeks beforehand. So they might be tracking it, and they might really want to do this All-Star game less about money and more about finding tracking points like that. But that seems real dumb to me. I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
So that might be a hot take. I'm putting that out there.
Yeah, it does. It just doesn't seem right. It seems like it's sort of money orientated, and I get it's a difficult situation, but I just think from the NBA, Adam Silver, and in general, that they handled all of this pandemic so well compared to other major sports in America, and it seems like that they're making bad decisions on this, and it shouldn't. To be, for me, it was just a pointless exercise. For me, I'm not sure. I know it's quite a big deal over America. I've never really particularly been over enthusiastic about the whole All-Star thing. Anyway, I've never really particularly enjoyed the games. I quite like the contests, etc. But for me, this year it just should never have happened. So we'll see. It's going to happen. Obviously, it won't include any Miami Heat players, which for me, I'm even more happy about now. But I wasn't happy about it for a while because Jimmy Butler came on the back of this. Since he's come back from COVID, he's been absolutely on a tear. He's playing like a pissed off All-Star. How is a top 10 player, and yes, I said it, a top 10 player in the NBA not involved in All-Star weekend?
Well, we should be happy, man. The one thing that the finals did for us was give us some more like of a spotlight. Hey, here's some fucking fuel for Jimmy. Get snubbed from an All-Star, Bam too, Duncan, not even being invited to the 3-point contest. What awesome fuel for this team that thrives on being underdogs and pushing themselves to, prove everybody wrong. But it's bullshit. He's definitely an All-Star. He was almost averaging a triple-double for each game that he was back from the COVID stuff. So, I mean, it's absolute nonsense. They just happened, I think, to do voting at a time when we were on a losing streak.
Yep.
You do that, national media doesn't give a crap. They're just looking at their record. They're just looking at who's hot, who's not, and then putting teams in that way. Or they're going off last year's record. Boston having 2 All-Stars is insane to me.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah, he's as I said, it's not a lot of them maybe look at just the stats and so on, but he's such an impactful player that I just can't get my head around it. I mean, I'm not fussed about it, especially now, but it does annoy you. And Jimmy, you're right. Jimmy Butler has been playing like he has got something to prove because he's an all-star in every sense of the word.
He's
So
shooting 40% from three.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, where did this come from? It's incredible. Right, actually, before we come off of All Star, the quick question here because Miami Heat have won 7 of their last 8 games. Did All Star break sort of come at the wrong time, or do you think that they just thought, no, this is a good thing because we're on a roll, a nice bit of rest before coming back to resuming this schedule? But did it, is momentum and winning is everything? Did this come at the wrong time for the Heat?
Yeah, I feel like I'm about to play devil's advocate to your answer, but no, I came at the perfect time. This team's super unhealthy as it sits right now. We are looking at heavy Kendrick Nunn facilitating minutes. I can't wait to get him back off ball again. The Spur, you still have to start K Nunn. I like this idea that's out there. It's like, oh, Avery's coming back and he's starting. Avery Bradley ain't starting shit in this team. He's not even really that good. As a ball player, at least this season, right? Avery Bradley is still a professional NBA player, but this season he's not doing so well. That doesn't mean you can't play him. He's still a great point of attack defender. He's still going to give you minutes as a facilitator. Like, I just kind of don't want Kendrick playing 40 minutes with the ball in his hand constantly. And I don't want Goran having to play 30 minutes a game. So getting Avery back is super helpful. Letting Mo Harkless figure out what's going on with his body. Maybe his legs can grow into his arms a little bit. I don't know what's going on with that guy, but giving this team some time to rest and Jimmy to get a break, I don't think does us any bad.
Yeah, it does make sense. And that's exactly what Jimmy Butler said as well in his last game, post-game interview. He said that as well. He said, we're ready for some rest now. So hopefully they can get that a nice week off and then come back to, what the Miami Heat are historically good at, which is we are a better team after the All-Star break. Second half of the season, we normally are a better Heat team historically. So that's going to be interesting. Before we come on to the second half of the season, let's just reflect quickly overall on the first half. What was your favourite memory? And that can be whatever you want, whether it be a play, a game, a performance, anything. What was your favourite moment looking back on the first half of this season?
I want the audience to be with me on this. Just envision with me the court and Mo Harkless with his very nice braids. His braids are always very nice. He's closing out on the defender, and he closes out so hard he ends up in the second row. And instead of coming back onto the court, Mo Harkless runs behind the scorer's table. He runs the entire length of the court in the crowd, gets to the other end of the court just to watch Duncan brick a three, and his head goes right down to the floor and runs back on defense. It's the best moment of the season. I love it. I could watch it 50 more times. I've already seen it 1,000. What's yours, man?
Mo, that is, poor old Mo, brilliant. Mine actually is from the commentary booth, believe it or not, because absolutely hilarious moment where John Crotty, I can't even remember the play now, but John Crotty, everything is a situation with John Crotty, as we know. And this was him saying to Eric Reed, that's why we called it a butter situation, Eric. To which Eric said, why do they call it a butter situation, John? To which John replied, I don't know, Eric. Tony, do we know what a butter situation is? Do we ever get behind this?
No, I do have a general idea. It's a little greasy, a little slippery, a little oily, but I'm still trying to figure it out myself. I've been putting butter in all kinds of scientific experiments to figure out what a butter situation is. Have you gotten any closer, Dan?
I've no idea. No, I'll have to try and ask John. I'll say, John, have we done some research of what this butter situation was ever was? Because
ask John to run the percentiles on butter.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll be happy to do that. He'll look into the basketball b-ball index of what butter has done in the last 50 years. He's got you.
That should clear it up, definitely. But yeah, that was a fantastic thing. And of course, Heat Twitter just roared after that. There was some fantastic memes and comments going off there. So that was my ridiculous favourite moment of the first half of the season, which has nothing to do with basketball at all, but it was great. Okay, so now we're about to move on to the second half of the season. As I said already, we historically get better. What do we think, first of all, before we start looking ahead at potential matchups and things like that? First and foremost, what do the Miami Heat need to get better at for the second half of this season?
They have to maintain health. I mean, you can't get better at being healthy, but the cop out answer or the fun Heat Twitter
answer is we need, you gotta get a 4, or you need some size, or you need another ball handler. I mean, this team needs a lot of crap, but this is what you got. And if you want to make it to a top 4 seed with this squad, they got to stay healthy. You have the 4th easiest remaining strength of schedule, 7th overall strength of schedule. There shouldn't be a problem with us winning games. It just depends on if we play down the competition and how hurt we get during the second half of the season. So again, another reason why I think rest is so important, because you could continue playing games, through the All-Star break. As soon as Jimmy or Bam gets hurt again, I'm like, that's your season, man. So to me, get these guys healthy, start rolling out more minutes of Avery Bradley, spelling Goran more. You can play him in the 4th. You can have him close out games. Hopefully we win these games. I mean, the second half of the season really should solidify our 3rd to 4th playoff spot. I think that's where we end up.
Yeah. Do you see, actually, you mentioned 3rd to 4th. So do you see with this schedule, it is pretty, I mean, it won't happen, of course, but we will go into every single one of the rest of the games in March as the favourite, because the schedule was really, I think we've only got 3 games with teams above 0.500 or above, and one of them is the New York Knicks. We've got I think the Knicks, the Suns, and the Trailblazers. So all of these games are very much winnable. So do you see us ever, penetrating that top 3? Are we looking at, are they just too far out drift from us now, or is there a chance?
I hope so. You need some help. We need some help with that 3rd seed. You need some other teams to lose. It doesn't feel like the Nets are slowing down anytime soon. It really doesn't feel like Philadelphia is slowing down anytime soon. And as much as the Nets look like the clear and obvious choice to come out of the East, that Philly squad scares the hell out of me, because I just don't see a way you defend them. With the Nets, you can hope that they're fresh with each other and they're not going to be ready to perform in the playoffs as a unit, and no one's going to know when to score and take over. That probably won't happen, but there's hope of that. But that Philly squad, they look like they're kicking all the tires, man. Like they're oiled and really moving well. So it's hard to judge a season off the first half. I know we have to a level. I don't like to. I'd feel better evaluating these teams going into the playoffs than right now, but that Philly squad looks really good, and I'm scared of them. Everybody else, though, feels super beatable. The Knicks feel really beatable. The Milwaukee feels beatable. I'm not too worried about the rest of the East, but those 2 with our team, I'm very scared of.
Yeah, I think that's spot on, really, because I think Philly do look quite incredible. Their size and their shooting, they've addressed the issues now that they were so glaringly obvious last year. So we've got Joel Embiid playing at MVP caliber basketball, and they look really, really a real good outfit. With the Nets, the superstar power, doesn't matter what you criticize about them, superstar power is always going to prevail, because you can keep a James Harden quiet if you're lucky. You can keep a Kyrie quiet if you're lucky. You're not going to keep all 3, especially when one of them's KD. So they're always going to cause a problem. So I don't fancy my chances against the Nets. The Bucks don't bother me at all, man. They do not bother me. They've still got the same sort of issues there, the same problems, the same coach. I'm not a big fan of the Milwaukee basketball. I think that they're very one-dimensional, and I think we're quite set up well to beat them. So they don't bother me. And to be honest, as I said, there's nobody else really in there that would worry me. The Celtics have got their issues. A lot of this is all going to be dependent on what happens around trade deadline. But going back the other way, there's no chance you see us here, because just as close as we are to those top 4 teams, etc. We're just as close, really, going the other way, all the way down to 10th, 11th, 12th. We don't want to be getting into a play-in situation here, do we?
No, I don't think that. So I'm trusting a lot to Jimmy Butler and the culture that's set inside that locker room to not play down the competition. I don't think this squad is one that'll do that. We might slip a game or 2 here and lose to like an Atlanta. But he's kicking their ass in the locker room the next morning. It's just not a team that I feel would be comfortable with losing any large amount of these games. So the hope is that you don't have to have Jimmy do it on every night, and that as we go through the second half of the season, Bam can analyze himself more and start to address some of the some of the shooting and lack of like basket attacking that he does. The thing is, Bam, even on our off night, is still scoring around 20 points and impacting a game defensively. So my issues with Bam aren't as heavy as Heat Twitter likes to make them out to be, but he needs to attack switches. Like, there's no reason that guy shouldn't be attacking every single switch he gets. He has to start backing down defenders when they switch on him. He has to start attacking the rim. So hopefully some time off and like a coach in his ear for 2 weeks and Jimmy in his ear for 2 weeks, letting him know like, hey, that's the one place we're adjusting. And, I think that's also a good answer for what's the one thing we need to do. If Bam can attack the fucking switch, we'll win more games. We will win more games.
Yes. Very, very well said. And I think he knows it as well. It's just, he's got to believe in himself that he's better than what he is. He's got everything in his game. We've seen that he's added a jumper to it, which has dropped off a little bit now. But yeah, you're totally right. He's I know we played a dribble handoff. That's a big part of his game, but that's a big part of our game. But he has got to, exactly as you say, attack that switch a lot more. Not just be this quarterback waiting to pass the ball off. Just go for it. Just go drive. And, you can become an even more special player than what we believe you can be. This time last year, we was... in trade discussions, and we had the big trade that happened where we got rid of Winslow, James Johnson, and Dion Waiters, and in came Iguodala and Jay Crowder, which turned us really from playoff locks or sort of challenge hopefuls into genuine title contenders. We switched 3 players that weren't playing into 2 that were very much part of our run towards the finals last year. Now, do we expect things to happen of the similar ilk? Do we expect that tweak to happen? There was a trade that has been floated out there just before we came on last time, which we think might not happen now, but that is that of Blake Griffin. Blake's likely to look like he's going to go to the Nets, but we have been linked with him. What are your thoughts on Blake? Do you think there's still something to offer there?
Yeah, I'm confused as to how the Heat can turn away anybody who wants to play basketball. Does he want to play? Okay, great. Sign him. Like, right now we have 2 guys in the team, 3 guys in the team that literally contribute to losing almost like in double-digit trackable numbers. KZ, Chris Silva, and Mo Harkless literally contribute to losing basketball games when they play. So I'm of the mindset here that if Blake Griffin wants to be here, you offer him, if he's available and he's taking the call, like, don't embarrass yourself. Don't let a report go out there like Danny Ainge that we almost got a guy. If he's gonna answer the call, you offer him the disabled player exception right now. You do it right now, the full thing, not piece of it. You offer the whole thing, which I think is $5.7 million, and don't give a shit about that number because it doesn't matter. We're already capped. Like, the luxury line is 7.7. You're A-okay. Just give him the full exception. He's going to be a size piece. He's not moving well laterally. I'll give you that. I totally understand. He's not going to play a ton of minutes. That's another thing too. He's got to be okay with not playing 30 minutes a game because he won't. Kelly's too good.
Yeah,
he's just too good, and and Iggy too. And honestly, I think there's a conversation that you have to have with him about it. Dude, you might not be as good as this Iguodala guy. Yeah, this Iguodala guy is still dunking, man. You're not dunking anymore. But saying that, still, the bar isn't, is he better than Kelly? For me personally, it's about adding versatile defensive pieces to close out games, and in certain situations, as long as he's okay with contributing however he needs to win a championship, you get him. And you offer him the full 5.7.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely spot on. I think that that was my main concern. Is we know he's not the player that he was. He's lost that explosion. He's got too much on his legs now. So we're not expecting that from him. I don't think anybody would. But my main concern is I don't want him taking valuable minutes away from people that are playing well, i.e. Iguodala and Kelly. But you would exactly what you said. You would rather have Blake on your team than KZ Parler, who's doing nothing, contributing to losing, as you said. Chris Silver is not contributing. So yeah, I mean, that is, for me, it's not anything that you would want. And I think so. This is something that you've addressed as well in one of your podcast episodes. I think want is a strong word, but you would take him. You would absolutely take him. So,
want is definitely a strong word. I don't want Blake Griffin,
exactly.
but he's there, and we need somebody.
Yeah, so absolutely spot on. There was one other name that popped up. As you said, there's always people that pop every day. There's a new name. But did I see something about Karl Anthony Towns? Where did this come from?
I think I also saw something about Carson Wentz as well. Michael Jordan, Bob Cousy's corpse was in the news attached to the Heat. This is stupid, and aggregators and Twitter folks have broken a pattern of you know what good teams do? Check on every single player. So you know what you can do if you need an article written? Say that team was checking on some other player. And that's what's happening right now with news reporting and media in the NBA. It's really crappy. Karl Anthony Towns doesn't deserve to be in the media like that. He's having a hard enough season as it is, and he deals with a lot of nonsense off the court. So it sucks for him. It sucks for us because now Pat has to answer questions, I'm sure, to reporters all day. But yeah, no, Karl Anthony Towns ain't coming here. Karl Anthony Towns probably doesn't even want to be here after Jimmy destroyed his ass. So I don't think it's a problem.
That's probably, if you was to give me one of the names in the league that definitely wouldn't be coming, that would probably top that list, Karl Anthony Towns. So it's a shame. It's clickbait nonsense. So we'll move on. One more name I'm going to throw at you before we wrap up.
Right.
And this is one that I know a lot of Heat Twitter, especially one of our Heat Twitter kings, Giancarlo Navas, is on this train well and truly. And I'm pretty sure you are too. Harrison Barnes. How'd you like that?
Yeah, the funny thing is I'm on this Harrison Barnes train like so long before G. Nobody cares though. You know, my Twitter account only had like 50 follows. I'm talking about Harrison Barnes, and then Gianni steals my takes just like he does with Nekias Duncan, steals all Nekias' takes. I'm just getting tired of it, honestly. I'm coming for MHB next. I'm just going to tear it down. Listen, G knows this. I support the Harrison Barnes propaganda like nothing else. And before, when I was chanting Harrison Barnes, I was an idiot because his contract was too much. And why would we ever give up a player for Harrison Barnes? And now I look like Twitter hates me too, because now everybody who wanted Harrison Barnes is so fucking loud about, hey, I told you. So now if you're a Harrison Barnes guy, you're like a super obnoxious Heat fan.
Yeah.
But it's true. Listen, the defense is exactly what it's going to be this year, which in truth and reality, it ain't stopping nobody and it ain't hurting you. So guess what? The only other way to go, there's no piece that you can add right now that's going to make your defense a world builder. So the only other way to go is an offensive minded player that sustains that defensive consistency. Harrison Barnes is that guy. He's a 3-level scorer. He defends decent enough. But the one piece that we're not talking about here is that he facilitates well too. So he can spell Jimmy. Jimmy doesn't have to play the whole game. He doesn't have to play every single minute LeBron's on the floor, right? Or Giannis or whoever he's guarding up against. He can sit every now and again, let Harrison Barnes take some minutes. Harrison Barnes can isolate. He can run a pick and roll. Harrison Barnes is the guy. That's the target for me.
Yeah. So that's the target for you. So if you had to choice between Barnes and Christian Wood, you would go with Barnes?
No, I would go for Christian Wood. Christian Wood to me isn't a realistic option though. I mean, they're rebuilding with him. Yeah. In a hypothetical world though, where Christian Wood is a target, it's Christian Wood. I take Christian Wood. Because I said there's no pieces that's out there that would make your defense a world beater. But if Christian Wood is out there, he makes your defense a world beater.
Yeah, I like the fit for Barnes. I think I'm with you. I'm on that train. I think that would be a good acquisition. Do we expect not necessarily this player, but do we expect tweaks to be made here?
Yeah, but it ain't gonna be Barnes.
No,
they're not doing. I say that I don't have any sources on that, and I don't have any confidence in understanding who the fuck Pat Riley is. But they're gonna want a piece. Sacramento. They're young. They're building. They're gonna want to make sure that they're still competing. They're gonna want Tyler. That's probably the guy they would want is Tyler. Cheap, organizationally controlled contract. Precious, I don't think it's that deal done. So that means that we're starting to look at the Rudy Gades and the PJ Tuckers.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it should be interesting. I expect something to be done. I am with you. I don't think it will be. It will be Barnes, just because I don't think we'll want to give up that piece, which is a bit maybe frustrating. I don't do it if it's Tyler. I would seriously consider it if it's Duncan. Precious, I would be happy as well if it was him. So we'll see. Look, as you said, who knows what's going on. Pat, we'll leave it in the very trusty hands of Pat Riley. He's been here, done it several times before.
I just want to say I would probably think more about Tyler than I would Duncan, just to play against that take.
Yeah.
With the reason that you pull a Harrison Barnes is to take your offense to the next level. If you trade, to me, this is just my opinion. If you trade Duncan, you're giving up offense. Like Harrison Barnes isn't going to replace what Duncan gives you. So if the move is to get as defensively powerful as possible, then I understand trading Duncan. But I don't in the situation where it's like you need to keep your offense, because a lot of what Harrison Barnes can do, Tyler can do as well. And there's not many things that Tyler can do that Harrison can't. I mean, Tyler's floater is really great, and he rebounds exceptionally well for his position, but I don't know what else they have. So if I'm trading somebody in that situation, I'm trading Tyler. But guess what? This is a moot point because I ain't trading either one of them for Harrison Barnes, I don't think.
No, I agree. No, it's a good point. We'll see what happens. It's going to be very interesting. Tony, it's been brilliant again talking to you after last time.
Bro.
You're new to the podcasting game. Your fantastic podcast, In the Lane, is already one of my favorites. It's so firmly in my podcasting rotation. What annoys me about it, man, is you're so damn good at it. I mean, you listen to me, as all of my listeners know. I mean, I sort of stutter and and ah through it, but I do my best. I'm just a fan, I'm not a media, guy or anything like that. But when I listen to you and you just pick up the mic and all your fantastic guests so far, and it's so seamless, man. You're so good. You annoy me. How are you this good?
Man, I'm just out here waffling. I don't know what part of England you're from. That might not have landed right. I just listen. I've built a character and a persona in a show that I can replicate over and over and over again. So it's really thanks to you, honestly. Miami, UK, MHB, 5 Reasons. You guys put in this media blueprint for me to kind of take and steal from, and just abuse all your fans and content to make my own, and be a blood-sucking leech. And I'm just good at that. I'm really good at that. And in return, I kind of want to support you folks as much as I can, and hopefully we can kind of grow this little Heat media world as big as possible.
Yeah, it's nothing but just constant fun for me. That's why I do this. It's just, as I said, I'm no expert. I just love doing it. Love being able to talk to brilliant guys like yourselves. And if you're not listening, please go and follow the the Lane podcast, because it is great. It really is great, and it will continue to get better and better. Tony, first of all, before I let you go, please let everyone know where they can find you on socials.
Yeah, all my social media is exactly the same. It's at Twisted Tapioca, all one word. The podcast is obviously called In the Lane, a Miami Heat podcast. You can find that on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, Google, wherever you get your podcast. You're going to be able to find it there. I made sure of that. And outside of that, I mean, it's just Twitter, right? Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, all Twisted Tapioca. My terrible, terrible takes are on Twitter. Don't follow me there. It's a warning. Please, God, you're going to hate yourself if you do it. But yeah, man, it's been great.
It has been great. Yeah, keep doing your thing, man, because it is brilliant. And thank you once again. And I apologise for the last mix-up. We've all had technical problems in the past. You was telling me about one or two of yours recently, which made me feel a lot better, because I was pig sick after that last episode. But hey-ho, we've done it now. Thank you so much for joining me, my man.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Right, guys, we'll be back next week. We've got Ethan Skolnick hopefully on with us next week on Heating Up the UK. We've also got an episode of the Heat Hub coming up. That should be back end of next week. Got 3 guests, which I won't reveal just yet, because I'm waiting for one to confirm. And we will have... and don't forget, please, to subscribe to the YouTube channel, Miami Heat UK TV. And remember to enter our giveaway competition on our Twitter feed. Go and have a look at that. I'll make sure it's at the top as close as possible several times. We need about another 30 odd subscribers for this to happen, so please go and subscribe to our channel and retweet.
Hey, one more thing can I plug, if you don't mind?
Go for it.
Hey, I have, and the next two guests I have coming on are going to be Clutch Adams, Alana, and they're both from 5 Reasons. And then this coming up Wednesday, I have David P. Sampson, the ex-president of the Miami Marlins, is going to be on for a short interview. So if you guys want any cool interview content, obviously NBA trade talk, I'm going to have Clutch on, then I'm going to have Sampson. So that you talking about that made me think about that. I'm like, God, let me actually be a fucking entertainer for a second and plug something.
Absolutely brilliant. No, that is fantastic. I'll be delighted to listen to that one. That's great work. So yes, go and check that out. Check our stuff out as well. Everyone keep safe. We'll be back with the usual in-game coverage and so on. Like Game Day from the UK will be back once the All-Star break is finished. Until then, everybody, stay safe, stay well, and we'll see you next week. Take it easy.
You've been listening to Heating Up the UK.
Be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts to ensure you never miss a show.
Also, go give us a follow on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook by finding our page at the Miami Heat UK.
And subscribe to our YouTube channel, Miami Heat UK TV, for our latest shows and fun content.
That's your Miami Heat from across the pond covered. Thanks for listening.